Hello and welcome to West Country Wanderings. Welcome to part 2 of my Calstock adventure here in Cornwall. I'm here again with my daughter. We caught the train from Lishe and changed at Plymouth. We made our way across this magnificent viaduct here across the River Tamar. Now, despite being a small village, Calstock still managed to support a well-respected arts centre. They have lots of events on here, small theatre projects, regular cinema screenings, and also provides a function as being a hub for the social side of the community here. I really love old, what are known as ghost signs, and there's a terrific one just here, just down by the quayside here in Calstock, which is where we're heading next, hoping to be able to get a shot of the train going over the viaduct. I'm currently in St Andrew's graveyard next to St Andrew's Church, which is quite some distance from the village centre here at Calstock. It's quite a steep climb up from the quayside. The road goes continuously all the way up the hill for nearly a mile. The reason I've come here, apart from to have a look at the lovely church at St Andrew's here, is to show you and explain that this site that I'm currently walking through was once a Roman fort. Now, there are not that many signs of Roman occupation in Cornwall. It was originally felt that the Romans only came down to eastern part of Devon and mid-Devon around the Tiverton area. But in 2007, some archaeologists from Exeter University excavated the fields hereabouts and the edges of the graveyard, and they found an extensive Roman fort. But that isn't all of the history of this land, because before the Romans came to Cornwall and the Tamar Valley, this was also a Bronze Age fortification. So we're actually looking at human civilization here going back more than 4,000 years to 2000 BC, which is quite incredible. And it's quite likely, because of the hilltop site here, an important stronghold above the deep Tamar Valley, that the Romans decided to utilise the original Bronze Age fortifications. So I'm inside St Andrew's Church here in Calstock now. This building isn't as old as the Bronze Age or Roman Age forts, although it's quite possible there was an earlier building on the site, maybe going back to Saxon times. This building was actually built around 1290, although a lot of it has been added to since. You're probably hearing that wonderful ticking sound of the clock. And the bells here. St Andrews were actually completely taken down and replaced, restored in 2019. Yes, I did do that in one take. I just looked at my watch and I saw it was 12 o'clock. So I knew that was going to time. A bit like I was at Pembridge the other day in Herefordshire. But this is a beautiful old church here in the Tamar Valley. There is actually a plaque over here which tells you a little bit about the fruit picking and all the fruit farms that were once here, which utilised the railway that we were travelling on earlier to get the goods to market and out to the bigger cities and up to London. But you can see on this plaque here all of the fruit pickers there and all of the fruit farms they would have had in the valley here, in the Tamar Valley, in East Cornwall. It's great to see on this very cold early January day in 2024 to see daffodils coming through, a great sign that spring and warmer and longer days are on their way. You're probably thinking, why is the Church of St Andrews so far away from the centre of Calstock? As I say, it's nearly a mile up this very steep, very narrow lane, Church Lane. I think the reason for that is that Calstock expanded with both the mining and the fruit farms, and the church here, being from 1260, predated those. Also being a mining area, it was things like Methodism that was popular. There are a number of chapels that are dotted around the village centre, and it was probably to those that the villagers worshipped on a Sunday morning. Love this sign here, your soul is in the boot theme going on, because we have next to that the Boot Inn, and next to the Boot Inn we have Boot House. I'm not sure what the significance of boots are to Calstock is. If you do know the answer to that, please drop a comment below. I love this here. This cul-de-sac is called the Adit, which is obviously linked to the mining, extensive mine shafts and Adit, which had littered the sides of the valley in the Tamar Valley here in Calstock. As well as being the centre of mining and the fruit industry here, in the Tamar Valley, it was also a centre for boat building, had its own unique design, the Tamar barge. And there were two main boat builders in the village of Calstock, including one at Goss's boatyard and another one in the Danescombe Valley, a bit further up the way. The river here, the Tamar, is navigable up to Morlham Quay, further on up through the viaduct there. And Morlham Quay, we'll explore in a later video, lies in Devon, so it's on the Devon side of the Tamar River. And there you have an extensive quayside, again linked to the mining industry. Before the railway arrived here, the quayside at Calstock was the main route that the goods of the fruit and the mining got into and out of the village. In the middle of the 18th century, Queen Victoria and Prince Albert arrived here by boat, by paddle steamer in fact. And today there are still pleasure craft that come up the Tamar from Plymouth in the summer months to enjoy this wonderful spot here in Cornwall, with Devon just over the river. Near the quayside here in Calstock there are a couple of pubs, the Boot Inn which we showed earlier, and this one here, the Tamar Inn. I've just had lunch here with my daughter, highly recommend it. The Boot Inn isn't actually open until this evening though. There's also a cafe here as well which serves vegetarian food. I'll drop the name of that one and link to that cafe in the description of today's video. Now the lane that we're going on to now takes you to a wood, and through the wood it can take you on to Cateel, which is a National Trust property, which my YouTube pal Louise from Southwest Sundays done not that long ago. I think she's done 2 videos from this part of East Cornwall. I'll include a link to those 2 videos at the end of this one here, but we will go to Cateel. It is actually closed now for January. You can go to the quayside there, that part of it, and the estate is open in January, but the actual house itself is closed. So I do want to come back here again to cover Cateel in more depth when we got a bit of a longer daytime in terms of daylight, because we're planning to catch the, I think it's the 3:26 train from Calstock, take us back to Plymouth, because I want to get a bit more footage from the train before it gets dark. But we will come back here again to do Cateel. But yes, you can. It's about a 1.5 mile walk from Calstock station to the National Trust property and the estate at Cateel. Yeah. Now, one of the things I love about Cornwall is how things come into flower earlier. We're still in the early part of January here, and one of the first things to flower, apart from the snowdrops and the daffodils we saw earlier in the video, of course, is camellias. And not far away from here is the National Mount Edgecombe Camellia Garden, which is stunning. It is covered in camellias, but dotted around the houses here because it's very sheltered in the Tamar Valley. These come out early, protected from the frost and the worst of the cold and the wind. Now, if you follow West Country Wanderings, you'll know what that is here. No, we haven't dived over to South Devon, to Brixham. Yes, of course, it's a lime kiln. And there are several of these dotted around the village of Calstock. After they had the mining industry with the tin, and particularly silver, as well as copper, and also the offshoot of arsenic, which was used for chemical processing and exported to the United States. You also had mining in terms of granite. An offshoot of that was lime, which was processed here in the village. Lime production was an important facet of Calstock's industry. It really boosted the local economy. So you had lots of strings to its bow with the fruit farms, as well as the tin, copper, silver mining. You had granite being quarried and lime production as well. And if that wasn't enough, of course, you also have the tourism which started around the Tamar Valley in the middle of the 19th century, which would be the paddle steamers which came right up here to Calstock. Now, it's wonderful to see this old railway carriage here too. Not sure how it arrived here at Calstock, what the connection to Calstock was, but there is a sign there advertising the rail holidays at St Germans and Hale, so maybe there's a connection to that. Behind me here we have this tiny little cottage which is called the Cyder house, and with that barrel outside of it, it's got to have some kind of connection to the cider industry. The Tamar Valley, of course, being surrounded by orchards, and I'm sure that at one time cider was made in that cottage. Now we have this unusual skew bridge which goes right across the lane, which leads to Calstock here. That doesn't carry the branch line to Gunners Lake or back to Calstock railway station. Not sure what it is. There's nothing on the other side of it. It's possibly for a tramway which connected up to the branch line in that direction, because Calstock railway line or station is high above the village, and I think that way it's on a slope going down to the quayside, Calstock Quay. Probably a tramway which connected the railway to the quayside, but I don't have any information on it, so if I can find anything I'll put it in the usual way below. So we're still walking in the direction of Gatiel, gone underneath that skew bridge there, which presumably was a tram line. Come across this another lime kiln hill. This one is about, at least 4 or 5 times the one that we saw earlier in the video. Not only that, you have this arch structure here, which is where the fire would be lit. A huge retaining wall, but it goes up a level and then up another level. Don't know if you can just make that out right at the top there. Very, very impressive structure. Don't know how many granite blocks they would have used to construct the lime kiln here at Calstock. Wonderful well here. This side, the right hand side from the Tamar Valley, because it's a steep cliff, is surrounded by wells. There's a couple that are actually locked behind doors. I'm not sure if they continue on to an adit, which would have been formerly used for mining, but wonderful one here. There, trying to get some shots using my flash. Beautiful Danescombe Valley here, with looking back towards the viaduct where we started. Hope you enjoyed the tour here in the wonderful village of Calstock, eastern part of Cornwall in the Tamar Valley, an area we'll come back to again to explore more in depth. Thanks very much for watching West Country Wanderings today. Until next time on the channel, take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, and I hope to see you on the channel again very, very soon. All the best for now. Cheers now. Goodbye.